Good morning. How you guys doing? Here's my dirty truck. Just did my pre-trip. All the lights are working. Missed one light. There we go. Lots of snow hanging off the truck. No flat tires. Yeah, yesterday we went through a lot of snow. It was the game of where's the road? Cleared all the snow off the lights and the reflector strip. Yeah, we were driving so slow yesterday that I think I've lost the Idaho load today. We'll see what the plan is, but also this is supposed to be a tarp load. But legally, Worker Safe says that the chipper must provide a safe way of tarping the load. Either a tarping station or they use a gizmo to get the tarps rolled out. That I do not have to climb onto a 13.5-foot load and roll out the tarps with huge gaps where you might step in and fall off to your death. They did not. So I refused to tarp it because it's unsafe to do so. And then they sent me to their office, a small little yard, and the boss says, fine, I'll tarp it if your truck driver can't tarp it. Well, it's not tarped, is it? When I pulled in, I had a conversation with him. He told me where to park in the backyard, and he was going to come out and roll out the tarp for me. It was a little miffed, and then he came outside, looked at the load. We talked for about 20 minutes. He apologized and said that we're not going to tarp this load. He was really nice about it though. Like, at first he was a little snotty, but then he got better once he realized, oh, that's the type of load this is. Anyway, let's roll out. Best way out of here. That way. It's 8:16. Stopped at 10 o'clock last night. This is going to be one of those roads where I'm going to be forced to cut someone off. Oh, I think I'm good here. We're going to leave my toque. Toque goes in there to prevent rattling. Didn't hear that annoying clicking sound yesterday on the video, so I think I fixed it. Soyuz. Right into the blinding sun. Sunglasses coming out. Yeah, thought I'd be sleeping in trail tonight, or very close to, but let's turn engine brakes on. My truck wants to go fast. Also, I'm really heavy. Really heavy. Like maxed out weight for Canada. For a Tridem trailer. It's a quad deck, but we cannot use a drop axle in Canada. Yeah, they loaded me 14 and a half feet tall and way overweight. So I told them, it's like, hey, I'm like 10 psi over on the drives and 3 psi over on the trailer, and that's too high. He goes, it shouldn't be. I'm like, it's too high. Pull up my measuring tape, 14 and a half feet. We're allowed a little over 13 and a half. 13 feet 7 inches. In Canada, that would be right at a max. So I made him take those bundles off and then put them on a different spot on the trailer. I'm like, I'm overweight, so he went and called his boss, and his boss took a while to come out. Explains to the boss, the driver says he's overweight. He goes, well, then you just have to take stuff off. This is a place that almost every single time I've been there, they've only loaded a small little partial load. It's not a company that's used to shipping out full trailers of lumber. It's usually these small little loads for individual customers, 2 or 3 bundles. Trucks in front of me were doing that, truck behind me was doing that. Just a couple of bundles each. Then, of course, paperwork says that the forklift will put the tarps on top and the tarp load. Well, there was a misunderstanding of what forklift driver will put tarps on top of the load means. The shipper thought it meant the forklift was going to take the roll of tarp, place them on top, and then I would unroll the load and tarp it. Sletko thought it meant the forklift driver was going to put the tarps on top, roll them out, and get them unfolded, and then I would just have to bungee it down. I took pictures of the load and sent it in. Everybody's on the same page. It's green lumber and it's all wrapped. I'm like, and the roads aren't dirty, especially with a snowstorm. The roads are not dirty. It's all just white snow. The load's going to come back fairly clean. When the roads are melting, that's when the roads are really dirty. Okay, we're not going to tarp the load. At first they were a little snooty about it, and then when the boss man came out and actually looked at the load, then they understood. slow going up this pass here because of how heavy I am. And that's why I decided to do a walk around in the truck. I'm like, I'm starting the day late enough that it's brighter outside. I can do a walk around the truck, and I keep promising to do it. And I'm driving the same highway I've driven 100 times. You've seen it 100 times. So we'll do something a little bit different. Excuse me. As much speed here as we can. Minus 7 degrees Celsius. It's got some skis laying in the back of the deck, box. Well, sure didn't get much speed. Let's put the power divider lock on. Might have to put the diffs locked on as well. Doing 35 kilometers per hour, so we're actually going faster than I thought we would. Yeah, let's lock everything up just in case. It's starting to look frosty. Turn the radio on. .25 kilometers per hour. It's an empty Super B, I think. Also, I'm really grumpy with myself. Disappointed. I guess it's not really my fault, but it's my fault. Bought this really nice, low profile micro SD card reader, USB-C. It's this really nice low profile, made out of metal. The transfer speed is amazing. With a, 280 gig card in it, I dropped it. And it bounced underneath the fridge. Like, okay, just reach in there with the fingers, pull it out. No. Bounced underneath the fridge, fell into the hole that just its size, the only hole that's big enough for it to fall into. And then down into the layer between fridge and the bottom of the truck. So you'd have to tear half the truck apart to get it, or it'll just sit there for the rest of its life. Like, those little things are expensive. I still have 2 more days of videos to shoot. Luckily I have 2 cards, because I always have one card recording and another card in the laptop copying over. So I can still record videos, but I can no longer transfer them at high speed. I have a other card adapter, like the big card, big SD card, not the micro one. That one transfer speed is so much slower. It takes forever to copy the files over, but at least I can still copy files over. But it still sucks. Looked like he was debating to pass or not. I'm like, just go. Like, who cares if there's a corner? We can still legally and safely pass. I will just go all the way against the barrier. He doesn't know that I'll go all the way against the barrier to make sure he has room. We couldn't get 3 big rigs beside each other, but we can definitely get 2 and a car. felt any slipping and sliding yet, but we are fully locked up and heavy loaded. So there's lots of pressure on the drive, so probably didn't lock up it. Probably didn't need to lock everything up, but turn, more steering wheel. Because everything is locked up, it wants to push me straight, so I had to put a lot more steering wheel into it. And yes, some of these buildings have observatories built into them, telescopes. There's at least 3 of them that I know of. I can see 2 of them right now. The White House down here has one. There's a house further down that has a white globe on it. I know there's another one up a little further. In fact, the road is called Observatory Lane or Observatory Road or something like that. Private rich people with telescopes. There's a B&B down that way. I wonder if one of those is a telescope place. Observatory Road. Alright guys, passing lane here, let's hammer down. Looks like they got the memo. You know what? I need a water. Go. Like lots of room, hammer down. Just want to say thank you for everybody that's dropping comments down below. It's pretty cool. And if you have a thought, drop the comment in now. Don't wait till the end of the video. If I answer the question in the video, that's okay too. Back to the sunglasses. Getting a bit flatter here. Get a little stretch where we try to get up to speed. Try. I'm still trying to clear up my mucus. Thank you, COVID. I was talking to the other driver that got COVID a week after I did, and he's in much worse shape. He's out driving as well, but he's still in a lot worse shape than I am. Parked in the same truck stop I did overnight. But he didn't have to take 10 hours off. He only took 8 hours off because he knew he wasn't going to the US. I have no idea what I'm doing. The plan is Idaho, but I don't see that happening. Earlier I was reading comments, and there's a really good question about tire chains. Do truckers carry spare tire chains? Not very commonly. Normally I do, but my spare chains are in my trailer, which I haven't had for who knows how long. So I had a completely brand new set of chains in the toolbox, still in the bag. Hopefully they're still there when I get the trailer back. But I also have chain pliers underneath the cab, and I can repair chains. What I do is every time I have to throw out old chains, which I haven't done for 2 years now, I take all the links out that are still somewhat decent, and I save those links because basically you have chains going all the way around the tire on both sides, and then links that go over top, right? Those links going over the top you can detach on the side if you have chain pliers. So you just detach the broken one, take one of the old links that I saved up, and click it back in, and then you're off to the races again. So I always save all the links that are still like in decent enough condition to give them a few more miles. And then just replace links until the chain can't be repaired anymore, until I'm out of links. Once I'm out of links and I can't repair the chain anymore, then I take all the useful links out of that chain and then move them on to the next one. I use basically every link till they break. In fact, I found truckers have thrown away chains at like brake checks and stuff, and I've gone through those chains and pulled links out of them in the summer. It's like, hey, there's some chains here from the winter. It looks like there's some really good links in here still. Yeah, pull out the chain pliers, pull out a couple of links, throw them in the toolbox. I mean, I'm not saving any money, but I'm saving the company money. It's a good question, Ian. That'd be another good video to do, me fixing chain links. Which probably won't be this winter. My chains are in really good condition. Having said that, I do carry 6 sets of chains on this. So, carry 4 sets of triple, 2 sets of singles. Doubles? Singles? I don't know why they're called triple. Basically, 4 sets go on dualies, where there's 2 tires side by side, and then 2 of the sets just go on single trailer, or single tire, which is for the trailer. In the US, you legally have to have chains on the trailer. It doesn't make any sense to anyone running Canadian highways. Lawmakers making laws that don't understand how physics work. They literally call them drag chains, because that's exactly what they're going to do. They're just going to drag back there. It's not really providing any extra traction. Want to know the best way to chain up a truck? Best way to come down a mountain, go up a mountain? Best setup? Look at the trucks that are driving in the worst condition. What do those guys do? And that's logging trucks. They drive up and down these really steep roads. Really steep. How do they chain up? And worst case, they will put chains on all their drive axles, usually 3 drive axles, and then throw 1 set on a steer. To have traction side by side. And usually the steers are like cable chains, not chain chains. there's Sasquatch again. I haven't been pointing out all the statues. I've done a video where I pointed out all the statues. There's a whole bunch that we've been passing. That was in the summer sometime. Can't remember what I called it. My time into these corners. It might be a bit slippery. Oh yeah. Well, we're still we'll unlock the dips for now. Let's do that as we're doing downhill a little bit. Still have my engine brakes on full. There seems to be quite a bit of traction here. Excuse me. I'll grab another cough drop. Just because I've been talking too much. The only time I cough now is when I talk too much. Entering Kootenai boundary. I didn't know that technically the Kootenai started before the Anarchist Summit. It's like the western end of Kootenais, but I didn't know this was all classified as the Kootenais. I don't know, I've driven by that sign how many hundreds of times? This is slippery over here. Engine brakes off. It's looking shiny. Don't feel like jackknifing today. And yeah, a more experienced truck driver, like a logger, will probably keep their engine brakes on a lot more. But logging trucker, that's a special breed. That takes a nerves of steel and skill to do that job. Gotta give those guys some respect. My job's an office job compared to theirs. At least it's not snowing now. Yesterday it was snowing so hard over here. At least they've plowed it. I mean, there was more traction before they plowed it. Plowing it usually removes traction. This fresh snow has got a lot more traction than shiny, smooth, clean road. Fine, I'll push up Anarchist. Oh yeah, guess what? I got 2 more copyright claims. Jess has disputed them already. Found out where they're coming from. I think the company's name is Rumble, and they are a competitor of YouTube. Canadian-based version of YouTube. It's easy to get monetized there. I've seriously thought about going to Rumble and doing videos on Rumble, but if they're gonna keep doing copyright strikes on me, maybe I don't want to go there. I think that's a beautiful house here. Right near the top of Anarchist. Beautiful viewpoints. They built their house at a 45-degree angle. That's the way you build a house. In the northern hemisphere anyway. Get the least heat in your house in the summer and the most heat in the house in the winter. Made it to the top. Wow, almost. Shouldn't jinx myself. I've never spun out on this hill, ever. But you never know. That's not true. I have spun out on this hill, but going the opposite direction. Never eastbound. It's always been westbound. There we go. Big Cummins can now relax a bit. Do I use engine brakes? Yes, I want to use engine brakes. Of course, when I get to the brake check down before Rock Creek, I have to go clean all the snow off the lights again because they're going to be packed with snow. This corner is pretty forgiving. It's the one after this one that has caught me off guard. I've drifted it. I'm constantly changing engine brake to different intensities, 3 different stages. How many cylinders turn into engine brakes, or how many cylinders of the engine turn into air compressors that are getting no fuel. So basically, the engine is making compression, and when the piston's creating compression, when you're at the highest compression, that's when you send a spark in the, well, this is a diesel, so no spark plugs. Never mind, shut up, stop making fun of me. But at the highest compression, that's where you squirt the diesel into the engine. I guess you don't do that either, you squirt it in before, but at the highest compression, the fuel explodes, forcing the piston back down. There. Forget all the rest. At the highest compression, the fuel explodes and forces the piston back down. If you don't add fuel, it just creates pressure and the piston doesn't get pushed back down. And I think the way they do the valves, it creates pressure, and once the pressure wants to push back on the piston, they lift the valve to release the air, so there's nothing pushing the piston back down. So they compress the air, release the air, piston goes down. I know, I just did a terrible job of that. Basically, it turns the engine into an air compressor. I've got 3 different stages of engine brake, and it just turns on 1, 2, 3 pistons into an air compressor. Well, there's 6 pistons, so 3 stages. I don't know how many pistons it turns into an air compressor. It won't do all 6 because the engine's still running and you need fuel for that. I'm sure someone in the comments is writing a detailed description of how engine brakes work. I understand. I know how engine brakes work. I sucked at explaining it. Really sucked at explaining it. I'm not a mechanic, I'm just a driver. That's why I'm not an owner-operator. Owner-operators really need to be mechanics. If you want to make money anyway. Get to Mount Baldy over here, it goes up and over. If you keep going on the road, you'll end up back in Oliver. Never driven the road. I should sometime. Alright, it's all downhill now. Shiny and slippery. I didn't reach over and click the engine brakes off. I've left them on, but a good way of turning them off is just by hitting the throttle again. The engine brakes, the computer is smart enough to know only to use the engine brakes when your foot's off the throttle. That's the dangerous part of using engine brakes. I have them on, they're not being applied. I take my foot off the throttle, or as we're going around the corner, I'm like, hey, we're going a little bit fast. Take your foot off the throttle on an icy road, and engine brakes kick on, and that's what will kick you sideways. It's like if you're in your personal vehicle, you're coming around the corner and go, oh, that's slippery. Take your foot off the throttle and just slam on the brakes. Tell me how that's going to go. That's what my engine brakes do automatically if I just leave them on. And it's gotten me a couple of times. And each time that I can remember 2 times that it's happened to me very clearly. Once was on DJI Pass in Washington. It was beautiful weather. Didn't think anything was slippery. I was getting mist off all the roadways. It was above 0 degrees Celsius. Come around the corner on a wet spot. Took my foot off the throttle and the truck just went sideways. And I didn't do any thinking. It was just all muscle memory, instinct. All I did was hit the throttle, counter steered, pulled out of what was very close to a jackknife. And then I go, yeah, I'm alive. Didn't drive off the side of the cliff or jackknife. And the other time I was pulling into the Sutco Salmo yard. I pulled in, come around the corner, all of a sudden, whoop! Once again, hit the throttle. Hit the throttle, and then your thumb is very, very fast trying to find the off switch for engine brake, because now that you've hit the throttle, you're going way too fast for that corner. Gotta hit that off button. Then get in the brakes and get under control again. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it here again. I know I've done this same video, I'm calling it at this brake check, but it's a good convenient spot to stop. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really, I really appreciate your support. You guys rock.
This video is brought to you in part by the letter C and these YouTube members. Cookie starts with C. What other things start with C? Oh, who cares what other things? C is for cookie, and that's good enough for me. Thanks for watching. Dum 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 dum.